Like many farming communities in northern Ghana, women access to fertile farmlands for farming purposes in the Dakwofar in the Sola Tona Kalaba district of the northern region continue to remain the biggest challenge confronting women farmers.
Atuna enko ne tuna nya ko mbro bunja bebe fuor ba bebe nti ala za buna se mon ko kama ikosi atuntana na kuna
nje ka tungam ko sindon ke papa bon ko be sina ko ma ba diri aba ika ase bala ase me bala aba sunsun bala ma I ase ma kwa wi ngon ba ko e me tera ase wi ase ma ba ase londa diri kara bi na ase ko wi dele biga jamambo
so kworo na antike smanya agilo senetwon ko sunsi blind to abeba ma kokko yi lo yi wa bara abeleba ma de ko se aside ko to sima mi tara libida na kulina se yon carbon ikosi.
The Tuna Development Program, TUADEP for short, a local NGO who have been working with women in the Dakwofar for many years to develop and promote livelihood options, observed that women were forced to farm on lands that lacks the necessary nutrients to support plant growth, thereby resulting in low crop yield.
Women don't own land. The land belongs to the custodian of the place, especially the chiefs and the landlords. They have the land. And they allocate the land even to the husbands of the women in the community. So in this direction, the men feel that the land probably allocated to them is not enough for them to also probably share with the women. So they really find it difficult to give the fertile aspect of that land for the women, because the man is the household who have to see that to produce food for the house. So he cannot share that fertile land with the wife. He feels the woman should support him in the cultivation of the activity of the farms in the household.
Generally, we see just vast land and we think that Northerners or those of us around this area, we have no problem with land. But it's not every land that can support plant growth. We know that. And that is just the difficulty. Soils that can support plant growth is not enough within the area, especially the Dakwofar.
Various studies by different organizations clearly shows that more and more women are now into farming than previously, meaning women now have access to farmlands. But that conclusion is weak, according to a development researcher, Eric Dakwofar. He thinks otherwise.
It is the kind of land or soils that support plant growth, especially crop growth. We have different type of soils, but then the soil that has all the components of nutrients that can support plant to grow. Access to fertile land here, we are talking about the ability of the farmer, and here we are talking about the woman, to have a piece of land through negotiations, through advocacy from the landowners to be able to produce.
In 2017, with support from the Busak Fund under the Dakwofar Women Business Advocacy Grant Activity Project, a study was conducted by the Institute for Development Research, Advocacy and Training in the Dakwofar with the Dakwofar Women Farmers Group as the study population. The study was to establish whether indeed women access to fertile farmlands for farming purposes exist, and the challenges and opportunities for improving women access to and ownership of fertile farmlands.
This research is not the first, and I'm sure it will not be the last. If you look at women access to land and fertile land, it's an issue that cuts across the whole of the three northern regions. And then it is not just only applied to the Dakwofar women, but we have it in all the three northern regions, where women, by their nature, do not own land. And indeed, anytime they want to produce, they want to cultivate, it means they have to seek clearance from the people that own lands to be able to go into production. So I think two of them operated in the area, Solar to Nakalba, for some time now, and they have noticed this kind of challenge that women within the area face. And then looking at the way they have the intention of advancing women in terms of business, they decided to seek funding from Busak Fund to be able to build their capacities. Indeed, it is not just only about farming or land access. If you look at the research went beyond just land access to include even doing business in the market, how they face challenges in terms of going to sell and going to buy.
Among the system members of the group, 40 respondents were selected to participate in the study. The study reveals a total of 52.5% cultivate groundnut, while 30% produce cowpea and soybean. Only 15% of women farmers cultivate maize, and only 2.5% of women farmers cultivating millet. And there is even more.
The finding actually noticed that women access to fertile land is a challenge, because we really contacted 40 of the participants, and then the findings that we got from them, all of them indicate that women, by their nature, once they don't own land, it's difficult for them to have access to fertile land. They may have access to other lands, but not fertile land. That's one of them. Secondly, we also noticed that stakeholders who matter in terms of land. For instance, we have the chiefs, we have the here we call them the tendanas. They are the landowners. And then we have opinion leaders and elders. These are people that own land. We notice that these people are willing to give land to men and not willing to give land to women. So in terms of women accessing land, it's actually through their husbands and not through the chiefs and opinion leaders and then the elders of the community. They only have access in cultivating certain particular crops. For instance, groundnuts, soya beans, and other things, they are allowed to cultivate. But rice, it's difficult for women there to cultivate rice because from our findings, it is like men think that the river area, marshy area where rice normally do well, these areas are no-go areas for women.
The research also discovered something interesting about the community and women access to fertile farmlands.
Dakwofar, if you look at the district, I think it is a unique community. It is a community where the women are very proactive. They really want to work, and indeed, they don't work as individuals, they work as group. And if you look at it, it is the only community around where they think that being settlers, but they are more of indigents, you see. And then they have a chief there that is an indigent, you understand? So they communicate more of land issues to the chief and to their husbands. So they see that, indeed, these are women who are not lettered, and once you are not doing government work, what else is farming? So that is what they do. But they want to progress beyond just farming for their husbands. And indeed, if you look at the entire district, it is that community that you can see that unity, that forcefulness from women that will want to go beyond just, taking care of their kids in terms of feeding.
The lack of access to fertile farmlands has serious implications, particularly for women and children in the Dakwofar and the entire Solar Tuna Kalaba district, according to experts.
Most of the issues that women come here with is just the household problems. My husband is not giving me enough money to cook for the family. I'm not also working. The child can't go to school because I don't have money to send the child to school. And the father, he's going around drinking. And when he gets money, he's going in for another, following women. So I want you to call my husband to order to be able to solve this issue in our household for us. Mostly if women come here, that is just the challenge they come with. Child maintenance, household keep. Those are some of the reports that we get around this area.
If there's no food in the house, poverty, sickness, and disease, at the end of it, is even death, you know. So if there's no food in the house, there's no even peace in the house.
Women not having access to land will compound on the issues of food insecurity, because they are the household keepers. Because once the woman is the one who cooks and takes care of the family, her lack of access land to be able to go into commercial farming to get the food for the family and get income for the family as well goes to compound the issues of food insecurity in our communities.
The men will give the virgin land, very poor land, poor in terms of soil fertility to the women. They cultivate for the first year, the second year, soya, and they know that soya has fixed nitrogen in that soil. The men will go and take it back, and then to plant maize, and then relocate the woman to another virgin land to continue. And that is the trauma and the punishment the women go through.
If you look at our household settings, most of the activities are on the women, although they are not the household heads. The men are the household heads, but the activities in terms of feeding and taking care of the family lies with the woman. But at the end of the day, she's not able to do any economical activity that will bring something much for her to be able to take care of the family.
In spite of the disturbing impact on livelihoods as a result of the lack of women access to fertile farmlands in the Komplayiri, it is even more terrifying to note that this reality will not go away anytime soon.
A lot of factors contribute to her lack of getting access to land. The man will even prevent her, or the community, or the community and culture will not allow her to go into commercial farming, because that's the belief. How can a woman own her own land?
The husbands themselves also beg for land. You understand? And then once they also beg for land, maybe what they are giving from the landowner is not even enough for them to cultivate their stable crops. So let alone giving it to their women to also cultivate what they want to do. So you put the husband in a very dicey situation where, look, let me choose between getting my woman to work on the family farm and then also getting her a portion of land to also cultivate on her own.
Buati. Lola Materesu. It's a Magbati, or Yakasanga, a Russian cooking Singapore. Otherwise, my call Koba, a Russian Mava. I let you, America, I'm a Buddha, my ear. Tag will be in a. I've eaten the